guys. Welcome to session 2 of the Undiet. I am so excited to do this next session with you guys, and I hope those of you who watched the first session, if you watched it the other night, you did the homework. If you just watched it, I hope that you do the homework I'm mentioning because that will actually prepare you for this session. But it's okay if you do them all together at the same time too. That works too. But anyway, so I want to reintroduce myself for those of you who maybe are just popping in. My name is Leah. I am a certified wellness holistic coach. I also own the brand Balance Life with Leah, where we do holistic concepts, we do nutrition teachings, we do just helping people with personal development, helping people become their best versions of themselves. So if you want to know more about that, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to discuss that more with you guys later. Um, Tonight for this session, second session, bleh, that's a tongue twister. Tonight's second session of my Undiet course, which again, I know I marketed it towards weight loss, but really, like I said in the first session, these concepts could be applied to any wellness goal that you may have. So even if weight loss may not be your primary goal, or maybe not your actual goal, but maybe you have another health goal, these trainings will actually help you too, because really, weight loss is just a piece of the wellness journey, right? It's usually what people strive for, but as I mentioned in the first session, it's really kind of a byproduct of everything else that we want, right? So so hopefully you guys understand that too. So if you're not, let me know. And if you're here, say hi in the comments. I would love to see who's here. And let's get started on session 2. So where did we leave off? We left off on figuring out our motivation and the reason why we need the motivation and confidence to actually get to our health goals, right? That's the point. So today I want to continue on to mindset, and I also want to start talking about stress and sleep and maybe the other hurdles that are keeping us from getting the health goals that we really are after, okay? Because mindset, we know, is a big part of it, but there are other things that can also help because it's more than just food. And that's why this is called the Undiet. It's more than just what's on your plate, right? We have to figure out these other things in addition to just eating well as well. Okay? Eating well as well. So, eating properly. All right, so let's get to it. So, let's continue on our discussion with mindset, right? Because most people's biggest hurdle is, of course, changing their brain. And that's why on the other day during session 1, we talked about how can we get ourselves motivated? How can we really get to that core why? Because that's really the crux of what will help us change the way we think about losing weight or our healthy goals. Okay. My actual recommendation for anyone who hasn't read this book yet is to pick up this book called The Secret. Um, I forget who the author is, and I'm terrible, and I will make sure I link it below. But this, if you Google it, there's only like one book, The Secret. But this book actually changed the game for me, and it changed the game for so many other people. Okay, so when I was doing my original health journey, in my 20s, it wasn't until I picked up this book called The Secret. Rhonda Bynes. Oh, sorry. Oh my God, I feel stupid. I should have that written down. Um, so that book, when I read it, that's what actually set me on the path to finally losing weight, to finally getting healthy, and to finally achieving the goals that I actually wanted to achieve. Okay? Because what it does is it helps, when you read it, you'll see what I'm talking about, but it retrains you to rethink your brain, and it trains you to rethink what you are actually capable of doing. Because so many people don't lose weight because they are afraid. They are afraid of change. They are afraid of failure. They are afraid of going into the unknown, right? And tell me if that resonates in the comments. So this helps you rethink your brain and rewire your brain. So all the exercises that I'm teaching, and I would also recommend reading this book, because our ultimate goal from this masterclass is rewiring your brain in order to get to that place that you are successful in both your health goals and life goals, right? Because health goals, will help with your life goals, right? And that's what we discussed last time too. So tonight's journal exercise or tonight's assignment is find that book if you haven't yet. But also I want you to do this journal exercise, okay? So every night I want you to either write it down or do some sort of mental internalization. Sometimes I just do it mentally before I go to bed. But I want you to write down 3 things that you are grateful for right now. And the reason why we do this exercise is because it puts us in a positive mindset, right? And a positive mindset helps us achieve things in a better way, right? It keeps us from it helps I'm trying to say it helps us prevent that block from being too afraid of achieving things because we're not in that negative place, right? Because people who are afraid or people who have that block, a lot of it's because there's a lot of negative talk or a lot of negative energy, right? And then you guys know what I mean. You know, when you're afraid of something or you're afraid of failure, maybe something hasn't been working, you start going through a lot of negative talk, right? A lot of, hating messages in your brain, or just, you're not really in that positive mind space. So a really good part of helping you adjust your mindset is putting yourself in this positive mind space, okay? So that's what this grateful exercise, it helps you put yourself in a positive mind space, which will actually help you achieve your goals better, okay? Because if you notice, successful, happy, healthy people generally have a positive mindset. And no, it's not that they got healthy and then they got positive. It's actually the other way around. They got positive, then they got healthy, then they lost weight. So your first trick is to get yourself in a positive mind space, okay? And I know things will happen and you're going to adjust, but for the most part, if you're always striving for this positive energy, positive mind space, then not, the positivity, positive energy, your goals, your health goals, your weight loss goals will come back to you because you're in that mind energy, that positive energy space. Okay? I hope that makes sense. I'm like trying to word it properly. All right. So the first thing to do is this one journal exercise where you want to do a grateful exercise where every night write down 3 things that you were grateful for that day. And they can be stupid little minor things. You know what I mean? Like you were grateful that your husband took out the trash so you didn't have to do it, right? You were grateful that someone washed your kids today, or you're grateful that someone else cooked you dinner, or it was easy to cook dinner today, or whatever it means to you that you can reflect back on the day. Say, yes, that was good. I'm grateful for that happening, okay? So put those things down or internalize them and actually feel grateful for them, right? Because by doing this, you're already putting yourself in a more positive mind space, and that will help you achieve your goals, okay? So, in addition to your current gratitudes, there's another exercise I want you to also do, all right? And this is my favorite one. I tell my clients to do this, and everyone thinks this is such a cool exercise, and it works. I can't even tell you how crazy it is how much this works, okay? I want you to do a future, um, future gratitudes, okay? This is one you probably won't actually need to journal, and you don't have to do this every single night, but I want you to do it at least this one time. I want you to write down in your notebook or your journal what your future self is grateful for. Now, this is what kind of goes back into we talked about first session of what is that future you? What is that future you doing? What is that future you doing differently that your current you is not doing? So imagine you're already your future you that you wrote about in session 1's exercise. What is that future you grateful for? Okay? Like you're grateful for this new, your new job. You're grateful for your relationship. You're grateful for the fact that you feel better, you fit into your pants, or whatever it is. It could be stupid things, it could be really big things. In fact, I would do a combination of all of it. What would your future you actually be grateful for? Because you achieved that person already. So I would, do kind of like a mental time warp or time travel where you're, okay, I'm this new person. What am I grateful for today? And that's what I want you to do. I want you to pick a person, your future you, 3 months from now. I want you to pick a person, your future you, 6 months from now, and I want to pick a future you a year from now. You can change the time frames, whatever feels appropriate, but I would at very least start with that. Okay, and be really, really specific with this new you. Okay, really picture yourself already this person. Like really internalize, because if you actually really internalize and actually feel this new person and this stuff already happened, right? Because you're setting it into motion, it already happened, and then you go back a year from now and you actually read everything that you were grateful for, I guarantee a lot of those things will have happened. That's the crazy thing about this exercise. And I know this because I've done it, and I can't even tell you how many times I've gone back in my journal and I said, in the things I wrote for my future self, the future things I was grateful for, how many of them came true. Like mind blowing. Like, and it works for my clients, because when I do my coaching sessions, I have them do this exercise because I see them only for about 6 months. So we do the 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, right? We do the goals and I tell them to do this exercise. And then at the end, when I write up all their accomplishments and I can see everything that they wanted came true, it's like, holy crap, you know what I mean? So people don't realize what they're capable of doing, okay? So I would really try this exercise. And if you need help with this, send me a message and I'll be more than happy to help you with you. Because like I said, this is what I do in my one-on-one talks, my one-on coaching sessions with my clients too. So I'll be more than happy to help you with that. But I would definitely do exercise. All right. So let me know if that makes sense, or if you have any questions about that in the comments. Okay? Because once we conquer your mindset, once we put yourself in this more confident, motivated, positive space, you are already sailing. You are already halfway there to reaching your goals. Okay? So now we need to discuss all the external stuff, things we think we might not have control over, right? So one of them is maybe the people around us, all right? So how can we deal with maybe the haters out there, right? Because how many of us have started maybe a new healthy way of living or a new diet or whatever it was, and you had those naysayers in the background being like, oh, I couldn't do that, or I wouldn't do that, or good luck. We've all had those people. Those people suck, right? They're trying to rain on our parade. And the reality is those people, it's not about us, it's about them. And I think we know that. But most of the time, haters, they're projecting the stuff that they are too afraid of on us. So you can't let the haters hate, or let them say whatever they want. Just know it's not a reflection of what you're doing, it's what they're doing. Okay? It's never about you. So many people unfortunately project their own failures, their own insecurities onto others, because so many people are afraid, and not enough people have the confidence and motivation to do what they actually want to do. And you know this is true. Tell me in the comments if this resonates, right? So if you have a hater who's questioning why you're making better choices for yourself, chances are on some level they wish they were as strong as you were, but something is holding themselves back. They haven't done the work yet on themselves, but you are doing the work. So you can let the haters hate and you still do you, and just listen, but don't let it rain on your parade, right? Just keep moving forward, because the funny thing is when people see you into going, see you being successful, see you becoming a better version of you, that's usually when people shut up too. Because they're like, oh, well, she did it. You know what I mean? And then they leave you alone. So just let the haters hate. This is also why you need to be strong. This is why you have to do the exercise from session 1. You have to make sure that your why, your reason for becoming that new version of you, and the things that you will achieve, they have to be worthwhile. They have to be emotional. They have to make you cry. When you think about it, like, you have to have a strong emotional attachment to it. That way, when the haters hate, you can just let it fly off your back. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't matter. You are already at peace, or, strong enough to, what this new version of you will feel like. You don't want anything to derail that, right? Because that goes with the motivation part too, okay? In addition, there's something also you want to, if you have a lot of these people in your life too, unfortunately, you might have to look at the people in your life. Like, I know we can't always pick like who our family is or whatever like that, but there are a lot of people that you do have a say more than you think of who is in your life and who you can really pay attention to. I like this saying, you might have heard it, where you're the average of the 5 closest people in your life. So you better make sure those people are picked well. Because if the closest people around you every day are negative, miserable people, you're going to be negative and miserable. If the 5 closest people around you are not successful, are not doing the things that they really know they should be doing, if they're not healthy or they're leading unhealthy habits, then that's probably why you aren't either. You know what I mean? So you want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with more positive people, more successful people, or at least people who want to be successful and are working towards it, right? Because of course you don't have to hang out with a bunch of like billionaires, but people who are at least trying, right? So because when you're surrounding yourself with those people, finally your brain gets rewired and you're like, okay, they can do it, I can do it, and it works both ways. So that would also be my advice too. Try to surround yourself with other people who want the same things as you, or at the very least who want to be better versions of themselves, because that will make you a better version of yourself too. Okay? And if you want one of those people, I can be one of those people too. Just let me know. Like I said, I would be more than happy to talk to you and, hang out with you or whatever it is, even virtually if you're not in the same state. You know what I mean? Just send me a message. Just, say, hey, what's up? You know what I mean? I'll be more than happy to be one of those people for you too. And that's also what I'm hoping from this group too, and why I want to grow this group, because I want, us to be a collective of a bunch of people who want to be the best versions of ourselves too. That's what I'm also hoping for this group as well. Okay, so let me know if that makes sense in the comments and how you feel about that. Okay, so in addition to mindset, okay, so after you do those specific exercises, both from session 1 and even from tonight, I really hope that you're already feeling more energized, more motivated, and more like, okay, I can do this. All right, if you need help with any of those things, send me a message and I'll help you too. All right, but the other piece is stress. I think so many people still focus healthy living, losing weight, whatever it is, with the food. And now I'm hoping you guys know mindset is a very big part. But stress is still such a major factor that people still ignore. And I don't understand why. Or either they feel like they can't fix it, or they just don't know. I mean, let me know in the comments if you can, give me any reasons. But for whatever reason, stress is still something people don't focus enough on in terms of losing weight, in terms of getting themselves to a healthier place. They think too much of like the external stuff, like eating, exercising, whatever, but they don't realize that a lot of it is stress. So we want to figure out a healthy way to deal with stress. And the best way we can do that is to figure out what our stressors are, okay? And I know that we can't eliminate causes of stress all the time. You know what I mean? Like, we can't pick our family. We can't always pick our job in the moment. If, obviously we're all working for a better job, but in that moment we can't really do so much. Or maybe financial stress. You know what I mean? I understand there's always going to be things there to stress us out. But how we deal with them is what we have control over, right? I tell my students all the time, because they're always like stressed over, because I teach at a university too. So they're always like stressed over school, and I'm always like, guys, this stressed over school because you're in school. I'm like, stress doesn't go away. It just manifests into life stress. So how you deal with it, that's what you have control over. There's always going to be something, right? We all know this. So how you deal with it is what you have control over. So my advice is to really figure out what your personal stressors are and find a healthy way of dealing with them. Okay, because we know they cannot always be eliminated. Maybe in some instances they can, right? Like if it's a relationship stress, we can just leave the relationship or whatever it is, you know what I mean? But for a lot of us, a lot of our stressors are things we can't really eliminate. Like my problem is usually my kids just drive me crazy, you know what I mean? Or like I can't sleep and then it stresses me out. So obviously I can't get rid of my kids, you know what I mean? So like I have to figure out ways to deal with it in a proper way too. And I will say, once you eat healthier and you are already in that healthier path, dealing with stress does become easier because the better you eat, the better it decreases the stress internally as well, and you actually deal with stress better too. So I can't really go over every possible scenario because obviously I don't know what your personal situation is. I mean, these are things that I do help my coaching clients with in our personalized sessions. So if you feel like stress is a big issue with, you know, hindering your healthy habits or hindering your ability to get healthy or to eat better or whatever it is, please send me a message. Maybe there's something I can do to help you, because that is what primarily what I do in my coaching sessions is I help my clients figure out what is their blocks are, what is derailing their reasons for not getting healthy or whatever is hindering their efforts, and I help them figure out what that is, and I help them figure out how to mitigate it in a healthy way. Okay, so that's what I do in my coaching sessions. So if you need help with any of those things, please send me a message and let me know, and I'll be more than happy to discuss it with you. Okay. All right, so the last thing that I want to talk about, I'm just looking at my notes. Oh no, I think there's two other things. So the other stress that I think we get with eating healthy, once we are on this healthy eating path and we know what we have to do, a lot of big issues is just support from the family we live with and our partners, the people that we live with, because, you know, if we're adjusting our eating habits, can we expect them to adjust their eating habits too, right? That's a big problem for a lot of people because not everyone in your house is going to be on the same page as you, right? And that's going to be normal. Okay, so I want to talk to you about that now. So if this is like your partner, right? For example, like your husband or your wife or whoever it is, right? If you cannot force them to do what you are doing, and I can't be any more blunt about that, all right? If they are in their own way of eating and they're eating crap or whatever it is, you have to figure out a way to kind of ignore it because unfortunately people can only be helped if they're willing to help themselves. But there are things you can do, all right? And I speak from personal experience here because even though I teach nutrition, I do this, my partner is not. Okay, so he's the one bringing home sodas and stuff from like the gas station, all these things. You know what I mean? So like we are definitely in two different lanes when it comes to eating habits. Okay, so a lot of these things are things that I learned. Okay, so you cannot push someone else to be healthy because it'll most likely backfire. People are only willing to eat healthier if it's coming from their own terms. You know what I mean? So you have to set a really good example. That's all you can do is, you know, when they see that you're happier, you're getting healthier, you know what I mean? You're achieving your goals, right? That's the best example, the best way that you're going to help them fix their own habits. You got to be the example, all right? When it comes to cooking, because I know a lot of issues is, well, I'm the primary cook. Does I have to cook a healthy meal for me or a healthy meal or something else for all these other? To be honest, I would say cook what you want to cook. If you are the primary cook, you cook what you want to cook, right? That's another blunt advice, okay? Especially if it's, a lot of times it's like the shared meal of the day, like dinner. You cook dinner, the dinner that you want to cook, all right? Like, that's what I do. If that's, especially because I know it's probably the only vegetable these other guys are going to eat for the rest of the day, right? So I generally take it, I'm going to cook what I'm going to cook. If they want to cook dinner, then they can cook dinner. I mean, you kind of have to do a little tough love a little bit. But I would also really encourage everyone to have a conversation with their partner and just really be upfront. Explain to them your legitimate why. You know what I mean? Be like, this is why I'm doing this. All I'm asking for is support. I won't make you do anything you don't want to do. All I'm asking for is support. So when you're talking to them, just come from a place of, I don't, I'm not trying to change you. I just want you to support me. Okay? And if they are the cooks, then let them cook. You know what I mean? And then maybe you might have to do some adjustments on your own, right? But I would also really encourage having a real conversation of what your goals are, what you want to eat, what they want to eat, and really see if there's a way to compromise. Like, you cook half the dinners for the week and they cook the other half of the dinners, right? And another thing I do want to stress too, you do not have to be 100% perfect in your food. And I think this will take a lot of the stress off too. Now, this is something I really want to emphasize. You do not have to be perfect 100% of the time with your eats. So if your partner wants pizza that night, have the damn pizza. Like, it's not that serious. It's not going to derail everything. You know what I mean? Unless you're like allergic to pizza or you're gluten intolerant or whatever it is, right? That's separate. But in general, just have the pizza. Like, one meal is not going to derail everything. And if it's only dinner you're stressing over, then make sure the rest of the day is good. You know what I mean? So, the meals you do have control over, make sure those are what you want. The meals you don't have control over, don't stress over them the same way, okay? It's not worth it because it's not going to derail everything you're working for, okay? Enjoying the moments with your partner, enjoying the moments with your family, eating together is more important than what you're actually eating, okay? That feeling of de-stress by being with your partner, that feeling of bonding, that feeling of enjoyment is just as important as the actual things on your plate. All right, so always keep that in mind. So it's not so much about the food, it's about being with your partner, it's about sharing a meal, it's about being with your family. So take the pressure off. Okay, it's not going to be 100% about the food. So I really want you to change your mindset with, it's not going to be 100% about the food. Okay, and I think that will help alleviating the pressure. All right, so I hope that's helpful. Okay, and we're going to talk a lot more about the food in session 3. So session 3 is going to be all about the food. All right, so I hope the first 2 sessions were really helpful with mindset, goal setting, etc. So if you have any questions about anything we discussed or even just any comments, please let me know, and I'll be more than happy, and I'm going to check everything. When you guys watch the replays, I will check everything you guys ask, comment on, make sure I answer any questions you guys have. Okay, so thank you for watching session 2, and I will see you soon for section 3. Bye.